Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat.
Well. It's been a long time. I'm back, and I'm here to chop it up with you all. First of all, Happy New Year, and thank you for tuning in with me. It's been a long time, but I got to tell you, in the last 18 months, I took on a position on the job that requires a lot of my time and requires a lot of rest, and therefore, I apologize for not being at you. But I got a day off today, and I just started coming off of this fantastic weekend of sports. I just had to sit in front of you all and chop it up. Listen, to be a part of the show, please feel free, call in. The number to reach me at is 770-927-8966. We're going to talk a little football. We're going to talk some basketball. And we're going to talk about the fight that took place just last weekend, over the weekend, I should say, with Pacquiao, in my estimation, nearly shutting out Broner. I thought it was 11 rounds to 1. Fight was never close, but we'll get to that. But where are we going to begin? We're going to begin in the NFL. First of all, I got to ask you folks out there, and for, you know me, I'm a Knicks fan, Jet fan, Met fan, Syracuse Orangemen basketball fan, and yes, indeed, an Eagles fan. And I have the blanket up simply because for the next 2 weeks, we're still the reigning Super Bowl champions. We won't be able to extend that title, but for now, we're still the reigning Super Bowl champions. But anybody who knows me, again, I'm a Knicks fan, Jets fan, Mets fan, Syracuse Orange basketball fan, an Eagle fan, and then I just support the the New York sports teams from there on. All right. Thanks for Tony Bruin checking in. He's actually the reason why I became a Syracuse Orange fan. Growing up in Ravenswood houses, he was like one of the first that I was aware of to go on and play college basketball after having a sensational high school career. And he's the reason why I follow Syracuse Orange, because he went there on a scholarship to play basketball, and he was a neighbor. He was in my neighborhood, so that's how I became an Orangeman fan. Thank you, Tony Red Bruin. But we're going to kick it off with the NFL. And I got to ask you, the way the games unfolded, was there a conspiracy to the outcome? And many of us might be thinking that, because I want to remind you of what happened in the Winter Fall Classics. We just watched the World Series of the Boston Red Sox playing the Los Angeles Dodgers. And now, 2 weeks from now, in Atlanta, those who are interested that will tune in and watch the Super Bowl is going to see the Los Angeles Rams play the New England Patriots. And controversy by the referees. I'm not saying that the referees decided the game, but there were controversy calls in both games that may have led to the outcome of the game. Clearly, in the Rams-Saints game, they missed the pass interference call. Clearly. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. In fact, you could have called 2 penalties on that play, because it was pass interference as well as helmet to helmet. Clearly missed, clearly blown. And then in the Patriots-Kansas City game, they called roughing the passer on a Kansas City lineman, defender, and clearly it was not a passer to roughing. And if it was, where was that same call for Patrick Mahomes a quarter before? So I ask you, and please be part of the show. The number to reach us at is 770-927-8966. I ask you, was there conspiracy to these games? Is it the sporting world wants to see Boston versus Los Angeles? We'll know if it's conspiracy if it's the Celtics and the Lakers in the championship, in the finals. Because then we'll know for sure that it is conspiracy. But I ask you all that. Because clearly, listen, the Saints was up 13-0. It should never come down to a blown call, missed call, or flag, or whatever the case is. You're up 13-0 in your building. You should be able to secure that. Especially with the offense ability and power firepower you have, you should be able to secure that. It should never come down. Should never come down to a play call. And in the case of Kansas City, listen, they got off to a slow start. Looks like they were the youngster Pat Mahomes may have been experiencing a little bit of jitters, a little bit of nerves. But when he got rolling, he got rolling. But Kansas City couldn't keep New England off the field. They had the ball twice as much. And I blame Andy Reid for this loss in overtime. You know, it's funny. Sports is sports. Strategy is strategy. To win a game, you need to have the most points. To win a game, you have to prevent the other team from having the most points. In basketball, when a team is on a 12-0 run or 15-1 run, whatever it might be, you call a timeout to stop the bleeding. You call a timeout to stop the bleeding. In the overtime, I don't know why you're holding on to 3 timeouts, Andy Reid. You don't use timeouts in overtime as you do in normal situation, normal game time. So my question to you, Andy Reid, and me being an Eagles fan, had to witness Andy Reid not winning games in January because he just can't sink the money ball. He'll get you there, but he can't take you over the top. My question to you, Andy Reid, and to other Kansas City fans, should he have called a timeout in overtime when New England was just moving the ball methodically against his defense? I say yes. He should have called a timeout to get his defense settled in, get them to regroup, get the right personnel in there. No, you're going to hold on to your timeouts for what? For what? It's sudden death. It's sudden death. You use your timeouts. Andy Reid, great coach. He'll go down in history as one of the better coaches to play in the NFL. Just won't win the big game. Why? Because he can't sink the money ball. He can never win a game in the month of January. When it counts, he's got a 12-14 record in playoffs, and he's 2-10 in games decided by 7 points or less. Andy Reid cannot be trusted in these situations. He should have called a timeout to stop the bleeding, stop the run of the New England Patriots in overtime. But now you're going to hear today that he's considering firing his defensive staff. Man, you're the head coach. You're the head coach. Call a timeout. Call a timeout. Stop the bleeding. Talk to your defensive personnel. Get the right personnel on the field. You know, again, is there a conspiracy to the weekend games? As I mentioned, you got the Fall Classic. In baseball, it was the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Boston Red Sox. Now we got the Los Angeles Rams against the New England Patriots. Moving along. Is Brady the GOAT among quarterbacks? Or is he the GOAT among all NFL players that ever played this game? Hey, I'm going to answer that. Brady is the GOAT among quarterbacks. The GOAT for me in the NFL history to ever play the game is Lawrence Taylor. And the reason why, and I continue to state why Lawrence Taylor is the GOAT, he didn't play a dependent position. People depended on him. He didn't play, he didn't care. He lined up wherever he wanted. He didn't have to worry about anything. Quarterbacks need offensive lines. Wide receivers need quarterbacks. Running backs need offensive lines. Therefore, they can't be the best of all time. Lawrence Taylor needed a snap. That's it. He just needed a snap. He didn't need nobody else. But is Brady the GOAT among quarterbacks? I'm not a Brady fan. I'm a Jet fan, Eagle fan. Despise the Patriots. Despise Belichick. Despise Brady. But yes, Tom Brady is the GOAT among quarterbacks. Yes, he is. He is the GOAT among quarterbacks. Yeah, you could talk about your Joe Montanas. He had Jerry Rice. Who made who? If Jerry Rice doesn't catch the passes, Joe Montana doesn't look that good. Aaron Rodgers, please. Since the Super Bowl he won, what has he done? Nothing. Brady's been in the league 19 years. He's going to an impressive 9th Super Bowl. That's almost 50% of the time he's been in it. And you might as well say 50% because one year he didn't play due to an injury that he suffered in week 1. So you can say out of the 18 years that he played a whole season or most of the season, 50% of the time he went to the Super Bowl. Impressive. What him and Belichick has done together is probably the best player-coach tandem in the history of sports. There is no other player tandem that can match Belichick and Brady. Darryl Taylor says that Lawrence Taylor changed the game of football. Yeah, he did. He also got right tackles paid. Because he affected the blind side of the quarterback. And he depended on nobody. That's why I call him the greatest football player to ever play the game. He's the GOAT because he depended on no one. All he needed was a snap. Right? And he was there. That was it. But Belichick and Brady, what they've done is unprecedented. I want you to think about this for a second. In the 19 years that they played together, not one player with 3 years of service, not one player of 3 years of service that was on their team with them is in the Hall of Fame. Whether that's defense, offense, the linemen, not one of them is in the Hall of Fame. Randy Moss came there for a cup of tea, maybe 2 seasons most. He's in the Hall of Fame, but not for what he did with New England, for what he did prior to going to New England. Had he not came to New England, he was going to the Hall of Fame. Players that's been with them for 3 years or more, you cannot name one Hall of Famer. I want you to also name one player that they drafted in the first round with a top 10, 15 pick. Brady was drafted 5th round, 6th round. What Brady and Belichick has done is phenomenal. Phenomenal. No one can match what no player coach tandem can match what they've done. Gronk may go to the Hall of Fame, but Terrell Davis is not there. And he's got 8 years and had a more impact on his team than Gronk. And Gronk he may not have the years of service. Not sensational player, but he may not get there. And think about this. How many players that played for Belichick gets an extension? After 3-4 years, he's on to the next one. On to the next one. Teddy Bruschi is not a Hall of Famer. Fact check me. He's not a Hall of Famer. What Brady and Belichick has done in this 19 years is incredible. Again, not one player that's played with them for 3 years or more is in the Hall of Fame. Not one player. Name 3 players that was drafted in the top 10 or 15 in the first round. Incredible. Just incredible. Hey, what's up, Rodney Buffett? Appreciate the love. It's incredible. And again, I'm not a fan of them. but I'm a fan of the game. And I just got to respect greatness. No, I don't think Brady is the GOAT of all players. I think that goes to Lawrence Taylor. But I do think he's the GOAT among quarterbacks. If you want to be part of the show, please hit me up, 770-927-8966. Do I think the Rams have a chance? Before the season started, I had the Rams going to the Super Bowl playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought both of them were young teams that were heading in the right direction after last season. And I had the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I had no idea that the Jacksonville Jaguars would fall off the face of the earth. And it's primarily because they did not address their quarterback issue. They need to address that in the offseason. Blake Bortles is not going to get them there, as you can see. But I did have the Rams winning the Super Bowl prior to the season, and I'm sticking with that. I know it's going to be tough to beat Brady. He seems to find a way to pull it out one way or another. Sometimes you can even say he gets help from officials. But at the end of the day, whether he gets help or not, he executes. And I just got to give him credit. I'm still going to stick with the Rams. I don't think that New England will be able to run the ball effectively against the Rams. Aaron Donald is playing at an all-time high. I want you to think of this for 1 second. A defensive tackle, that's a guy that plays inside the line, not on the outside, up the middle, usually your run stuffer, had 20 and a half sacks this year. That's incredible. And he's playing alongside Namaka Suh, who just seemed like he's found his stride since the playoffs have started. So I think they're going to have some trouble trying to run the ball up on him. It's going to be interesting to see. I got the Rams beating the Patriots. Don't know what the score is going to be like, but I'm going to go with Rams. They got the young coach there, McVay. He's energetic. Looks like he's drawing up plays from John Madden, Xbox. I'm going with the Rams to upset the Patriots. I think they have a strong chance of beating the Patriots. I'm going to move along to the NBA. Listen, I'm 51 years old. Been watching NBA since the mid-'70s. I go back to the days of Earl of Pearl and Clyde Frazier in the backcourt with the Knicks. I remember watching them when they were on regular TV. I believe it was Channel 9 or Channel 11 back in the days. And I've seen maybe some dynasty teams, if you want to say. But I've never seen a team send out a starting five with 5 players that all have 4 or more All-Star appearances. What the Golden State sends out there at tip-off is unbelievable. I mean, they were a deadly team to begin the season without DeMarcus Cousins. And now you put DeMarcus Cousins in that starting lineup. I ask you, can Golden State go ahead and reserve for a parade? I say yes. You know, people say, well, they don't have the same bench that they had once before. Well, you know what? DeMarcus Cousins helps that bench. Because you can put DeMarcus Cousins and say Klay Thompson out there with 3 players from the bench, and you got 3 starters resting. Or you can put DeMarcus Cousins out there with 4 bench players and have the 4 starters resting. Listen, he changes the whole dynamic of that team. He helps the bench. He helps the starters. He helps the half-court game. He helps the spacing of the game. This is a guy that if you need to go down in the box on the post, you can give it to him. If you want to do a pick and roll, pick and pop, he can step out, hit the 3, or he can just stand around the 3-point line and keep the back door going and the lane open. Personally, it's not fair to see a team trot out there at jump ball to start the game with Curry and Klay, perhaps the best shooting backcourt tandem ever to play. Kevin Durant, possibly one of the top 5, definitely top 10 scorers to ever play the game. You have Draymond Green, that he's not one of these top guys, but you know what? He's a do-all player that's their emotional leader that's going to ride the coattail of this Golden State wave to the Hall of Fame. He's got multiple All-Star appearances, and he is their emotional leader. And now you throw out DeMarcus Cousins, who, when healthy, could be the best center in the game. Unbelievable. Just simply unbelievable what Golden State is throwing out there every night. You know, I watched them last night, and Curry was struggling. Durant was so-so. Cousins is still finding a groove. They blew out the Lakers, and Klay Thompson was 10 for 11 from three-point range, hit his first 10 threes, and he had 44 points. What can you do with a team like this? I mean, really, what can you do with a team like this? I've never seen a team like Golden State Warriors right now. I mean, Steve Kerr, some might say he has a difficult time because he's got to manage egos over there, but he's got to be he's probably the coach that does the least coaching. I mean, he's got coaches on the court. He got stars on. Just, it's unfair. And I really think that they win another championship, and they win it rather easily. I don't think there's a team that can challenge them. It's going to be tough. I mean, you got some teams out there. I mean, Toronto looks impressive. Milwaukee looks impressive. They're well coached by Coach Budenholzer. You know, OKC, I don't think they have enough offense to compete with them. I just don't see nobody beating them. I really don't. And here's the thing. There's not a trade out there that any of the top teams can make that can make a difference. You know, I don't see like who could OKC acquire to make a difference out west? Who could the Lakers acquire that can make a difference out west, that can challenge them? I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, even if Magic and Kareem came on the court for the Lakers, I still don't think they get it done. You know, so it's what Golden State is doing. Hopefully, this is the end of that era. Maybe Durant, he breaks off, and maybe we're lucky, and he comes to the Garden. You know, here's the thing about it. There's reports and rumblings about him coming to the Garden, which would be great. But my thing is this. You don't have to be the prettiest person to attract the best looking mate. But you need to be pretty darn attractive. You know what I mean? And right now, we know that Knicks is not the prettiest team out there, but they damn sure ain't the most attractive team either. And what I mean by that, they're not winning any games. They're not showing that they're going in the right direction. I mean, here's a guy that's possibly going to win 3 championships in a row. He's leaving a team that's going to go to their 5th consecutive championship game, win 4 out of 5 years, and you're going to go to a team that possibly has the number 1 pick in the draft? Now, many people think, yeah, the Knicks is doing the right thing. They're tanking, get a high draft pick. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Teams that built through the draft as well as through free agency. There's only one organization that I saw win championships that did it through the draft without signing major free agents, and that was the San Antonio Spurs. From David Robinson to Avery Johnson to Tim Duncan to Sean Elliott to Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard, Ginobili, they all came through the draft. Other than that, there was not one major free agent signing. Their major free agent signing was recently to replace Tim Duncan. That was LaMarcus Aldridge. Otherwise, now even Golden State signed David Lee and Andre Iguodala before they started drafting Clay and Curry and and Draymond Green, and then they sealed the deal by getting Durant, and then they oversealed the deal by adding Cousins. But even so, they acquired free agents. So you need to have free agents as well. And my thing is this, by acquiring free agents, I can't see my team, the New York Knicks, who's going to be a bottom feeder and draft easily top 3 in the draft. Kevin Durant's going to say, they're going in the right direction. I'm going there. Now, it's different if they're somehow able to clear cap space and maybe acquire add a Kemba Walker to go with Durant or Kyrie Irving to go with Durant. But I just don't see Durant walking away from Golden State to go to New York. But I do see him walking away from Golden State. And would that make up room for Boogie to stay? Because if Boogie stays and he walks, they still a threat to win the West. Depending on where Durant goes, might determine if they're a threat to win it all. But it's still a threat. Now, as I said, Golden State look like they're not going to be beat. Now, there's been a lot of new rules in the NBA, and quite frankly, it promotes scoring. And maybe I'm that old school dude or that old guy that says, get off my lawn. But at the end of the day, I ask you all, and if you want to be part of the show, give me a call, 770-927-8966. Are you enjoying the game more? Or are you enjoying the game less due to the rule changes? You know, it's exciting. You see scoring, yeah. But you know what? The game is too easy. I mean, you got teams that haven't won 15 games and still averaging 140 points a game. You know what I mean? These guys are scoring 115 points a game on average, and they don't even have 15 wins. It's just too easy to score. Right now, if you got a hard-nosed son that loves the game of basketball and his passion is to defend, it's almost you need to tell him, son, you're wasting your time. They don't promote defense in the NBA. You're not getting in the NBA playing defense. You better get out there and start shooting from half court because that's where it's at. It's scoring. Scoring is what gets you in to the NBA. Shot blockers, hard-nosed defenders, they don't have a chance today. It's almost like the NBA is becoming soft that they want to promote scoring. Now, I get it, NBA. I get it. You got a rising product. It's been on the rise for a while. It's got more fanfare than ever. It is popular around the globe. I get it. But it's okay to play some defense. It's okay to get hit coming down the lane. I mean, nobody's trying to get arrested on the court. But my goodness, is it really enjoyable to watch teams put up 140 points a night? Is it really enjoyable to watch a guy like Amir Johnson come down and shoot a 3-point shot? Is it really enjoyable? I ask you that. I love the game. I'm going to watch it regardless. I mean, I was just on the phone with MSG trying to get a refund for League Pass because the Knicks are so horrible. But is it enjoyable? I tell you what, I would like to see more defense put in place. I really would. Yeah, I hear you, Rodney. It is all about the money, and I get it. And what's happening is that money is true. NBA is making buku money. You know, and these players are brands now, and they don't want to ruin the brand by getting them hurt and this and that. And I get it. But, man, it ain't nothing wrong with a little defense. You know, if you had a son out there that just want to play defense, he won't make it to the league. He won't make it to the league unless he can shoot a jump shot. No matter how tall he is or how small he is, he's not going to make it to the league. But once again, the game is the game. I enjoy it. No knock on it. Who's your MVP candidate out there? Please chime in, call up the show, chat along. Who's your MVP? For me, it's Giannis. I think Giannis is the MVP. He's taking his game to the next level. He's got a great coach behind him. It's going to be hard for him to win MVP when his coach can win Coach of the Year. I don't think you can have both in the same year. Because if a coach is Coach of the Year, you're saying that the team's success is because of the coach. But if the player is MVP of the league, then you're saying the team's success is because of that player there. So I gotta go with Giannis on this. I see my man Quincy. He calls up and he says he chats in. He says James Harden. I'm not going with James Harden. I'm just not. In the era I grew up, James Harden is walking and up and down in every possession. Every possession. We could call walk or up and down on James Harden every possession. I can't remember hopping in the air for 2 steps to go backwards and put up a shot on the playgrounds or in CYO or anywhere where I played organized basketball as a child growing up. That's an up and down to me or a walk. I can't give it to him. I'm sorry. I just can't give it to him. I mean, what he's doing is phenomenal. I mean, it seems like he's like Harlem Globetrotters out there. It's phenomenal what he's doing, James Harden, but I just can't support what James Harden is doing. Again, in my playground, what I grew up in, Ravenswood Houses, Queens, New York, playing CYO basketball and various other outlets, whether it was citywide or the Boys of Yesteryear tournament or whatever it might be. Those was up and downs and travels. But I give James Harden credit because every year when the officials have a players' officials meeting in Secaucus to discuss some of the rules and so forth, he's the only player to show up. Nobody else shows up. So, I guess they appreciate that he comes by, chimes in with them, chops it up, has a cup of tea or whatever it might be. So maybe they give him favor. But he's the only one to show up. I appreciate that, Dow. Thank you. But at the end of the day, I can't put him in the top as top for MVP. Now, what he's doing, his numbers, yeah, it's impressive. It's impressive. But if you want to talk about numbers, Russell Westbrook is on pace to average a triple-double for the 3rd consecutive year. Let that sink in for a minute. And he's not even mentioned in the MVP race. For the 3rd consecutive year, Russell Westbrook is on the verge of averaging a triple-double. Let that sink in. I mean, so listen, let's start from the top. There's a bunch of candidates out there. Giannis, Kawhi, Embiid, Harden, Curry, LeBron. Yeah, LeBron. I mean, I don't think he has a chance to win because once upon a time, I was told in order for you to win an MVP, your team has to finish top 4 or higher in the playoff seeding. I don't think the Lakers would be a top 4 team. I just don't think so. I don't see it. I don't see it. But there's plenty of MVP candidates out there. I think that clearly Giannis is going to be heavily favored. Harden is going to get heavy votes, but I just can't bear with. I mean, I ask people, is Harden a top 10 shooting guard of all time? Is he in the top 10? I have a hard time putting him in the top 10. I have a hard time putting him in the top 10 of all time among shooting guard. But what he's doing is impressive. Not going to take anything away from him. I actually think Paul George is in the conversation. And I'm going to tell you something about OKC. OKC is a better team. And hear me out, Westbrook. When Paul George is your best player. Westbrook, recognize you don't have to do it all. Less is more for your team, Westbrook. You got some players over there. Schroeder is not a backup point guard in this league, Westbrook. He's a starting point guard. Allow him to handle the ball. Play off the ball. Paul George, when he's the best player for OKC, OKC is at their best. Westbrook, pay attention to that. Is there a surprise team for anybody out there? I mean, I think there's a few surprise teams. Excuse me. I'm going with the Sacramento Kings. Dave Yeager, I thought, was an excellent coach in Memphis. Was a little surprised when he got fired. But management ownership over there is kind of crazy over there. So it doesn't surprise me on that note. But what he does with his players, he's always produced, if you ask me. And he's doing a magnificent job for the Sacramento Kings. They're not going to make the playoffs, but to see this young squad do what they're doing, they were not even thought of being a top 10 team in the West. They got signature wins. They're borderline around 9 and 10. If someone has one major injury at the wrong time, if a team has a player with a major injury at the wrong team, especially those bottom feeders, those 6, 7, 8 teams out in the West, Sacramento can sneak in there. And there's a trade. They can make a trade that I think can improve their chances to get to the playoffs. They're one of the few teams out there that can really make a trade that can better their chances in the playoffs. And that's if they trade Costa Koufos, Zach Randolph, Justin Jackson, and another young player over there, and possibly a future first-round pick to Memphis for Marc Gasol. That'll put them in the playoffs. That will put them in the playoffs. They need a veteran leadership, someone that can slow down the pace occasionally, get them an easy bucket, a willing passer from the big men. Because Willie Cauley-Stein is playing ball now. He's playing ball. Willie Cauley-Stein is playing ball. He really is. He's playing ball. But if Sacramento can make a trade for Marc Gasol, I think that might leap them into the playoffs. Especially if someone that's already in the top 8 right now having a little lingering injury that keeps a star player out. Because that can happen. Sacramento can sneak in there. I'm very impressed with them. And I gotta be impressed with my crosstown rivals, the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, yes. I would have never thought that the Brooklyn Nets would be somewhere around 6, 7 in the top 8 in the East. What they're doing is very, very special. I think they're well coached. I think the Nets are well coached. Kenny Atkinson is probably getting the most from least or the most from less. And you just got to tip your hat off. You know, they were going into the offseason with almost $70 million. And yeah, they was looking to get in the sweepstakes, try to get this person, get this player, blah, blah, blah. Spencer Dinwiddie has changed that. This guy here, the way he is playing ball, they went on and signed him before the season is over. And tapped into that money. And then you know what? I think it's a great move. I think it's an excellent move. You know, whether he's their starting point guard next year or the backup point guard, he's earned a contract. And either way, he will be helpful and useful to the Brooklyn Nets going forward in the future. The Nets is playing ball. I don't know how they're doing it. They're a lot like Miami, where they got a bunch of 6 men that's playing together, that is well coached every game, and they're getting the most out of them. And whether D'Angelo Russell is up or down or not, and most of the time he's more up, But between him and Dinwiddie, and their best player is hurt with the broken leg, broken foot, I think it is. Karis LeVert. So what they're doing, they got Joe Harris playing like he's looking for a new contract. It's just phenomenal what Kenny Atkinson is doing in Brooklyn. And, I mean, Brooklyn has got to be one of those surprise teams of the year. I mean, I know I got my man Quincy talking about Denver. You know, here's the thing. Denver, they missed the playoffs on the last day of the season. Everybody expected Denver to be better this year. But by a show of hands, who had Brooklyn in the playoffs this year? I know I didn't. I didn't see it coming. I thought New York would be better than Brooklyn. Nah, Brooklyn is a real team. They got quality wins. They're not afraid of nobody. You know, last year, and this is pretty much the same team as last year, they probably led the league with the most losses of 5 points or less, which should have told us something going into this season that they were a little bit maybe better than what their record indicated because they were in a lot of games that they lost with chances to win. So, do I think they can make noise? No. I think the teams up top in the East will all advance. I just wouldn't want to be the 4-5 matchup. That's what you're trying to avoid in the East. You don't want to be the 4-5 matchup. You know, I mean, you got Toronto, Milwaukee, Indiana, Boston, Philly. You don't want to be the 4-5 matchup because someone who is expected to be around for at least the second round is not going to be around for the second round. And that would be disappointing to all five of those franchises because somebody's going home. You don't want to be the 4-5 matchup. That 4-5 matchup in the East could be one of the best first-round matchups this year in the playoffs. Now, if we get a 1-8 Golden State Lakers, that's going to be the most intriguing. That's going to be the most intriguing of them all. That'll probably be the most watchable series in the playoffs outside of the championship. That'll probably be the most watched first-round playoff matchup if it's Golden State and the Lakers, with LeBron possibly going home in the first round. That would be must-see TV. The only bad thing about that is all the games will be at 10:30. That's the bad thing about LeBron going to the West. Because at least if he was in the East, you know you was going to see his games at a respectable hour. But, I mean, it is what it is, right? But if LeBron and Golden State match up in the first round, 1-8 or 2-7, that would be the most watched first-round series ever. But again, that 4-5, whether it's Philly and Boston, Indiana and Philly, Boston and Indiana, that's going to be a real series over there. And you want to be 4, not 5. You will want Game 7 on your court. You know, that's going to be a really, 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 really interesting series. And will Brooklyn make the playoffs? At this point here, I don't see why not. I really don't. I don't see why not. If I'm them, I don't make no trades. I just stick with what you have. It's working. Teams like Orlando, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, they're not Washington. They don't have enough to get there. They don't have enough to get there. I don't see any trades happening that will get them to get into the top 8. I don't see it. Although Washington, I think, this is funny. They're a better team without their best player. Can you go figure that out? They're a better team without their best player. Go figure that. So I don't see any changes over there where someone's going to challenge Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn stays in there. Maybe Detroit might sneak in there, but I doubt it. They might be in a position to make a trade, but I don't see nobody beating them. Nah, I don't see it. Now, one of my favorite players of all time, he won me a championship at Syracuse. He came into the league, took Denver to the playoffs his first 8 years and entering the league. Came to the Knicks, gave us one really, really exciting year where we won 50 games with Mike Woodson. Took us to a playoffs a couple of times, and it didn't end well for him in New York. And that's my man, Carmelo Anthony. I'm a big Carmelo Anthony fan, and I'm a little down on his decision to go play with the Houston Rockets, knowing the history between him and Mike D'Antoni. I'm glad that they did finally trade him to get him out of there. I think Carmelo still has something to offer a playoff team. It may not be 20 minutes a game anymore or 30 minutes a game, but I still think that he could come on and whether it's a bench role or just come out there, I think he can help some teams. And I just wish him best right now. I hope that Chicago, when they do release him, he's able to latch on to a team that he can make a difference. There's rumblings that the Lakers would be interested in him, and that's fine and dandy, But I just want to see where he can go somewhere and get an opportunity to get another look for next year. Because if he's done, he's done. But I think he deserves to go out on his own merit and not go out like this. You look at D. Wade, he's exchanging jerseys with everybody and this and that, and he may have a little bit more left in the tank on both sides than Carmelo, but at the end of the day, he's going out on his own merit. And Carmelo is one of the greats to play this game. We have the greatest 50. If they add the greatest 75 by adding the next 25, when 75 is coming up, I think it is in 2021, he's going to be on that list. I mean, he's one of the best scorers that the game has ever seen. That the game has ever seen. He was Bernard King for this generation. But he deserves the right to go out on his own merit. So I hope he latches onto a team. I don't necessarily want to see him with the Lakers. I'm not a Laker fan. I wouldn't mind seeing him with a team that really could use someone like him when it comes to scoring and maybe filling a position. And that's probably Portland. Portland can use him. They really don't have a bona fide three. They really don't have scoring off their bench. They could use him. They really could. They could use him, and it could help them with their playoff run to maybe possibly be a top 4 team or just prevent from falling out. But I would like to see him there. It'd be interesting if Golden State get him. I hope not. If Melo ever wins a championship, I don't want it to be because he rode the coattail of Golden State. But I do think he can help some teams. And again, I'm not suggesting he's 30 minutes a night. But I hope he finds a team that utilizes what he has left, whether it's 15, 20 minutes a night. And before I go, I have to touch on the fight that took place over the weekend. I would be in favor if Adrian Broner never gets another championship fight. I think that the guy is a talented fighter. I think that he has skill sets. I think he has a lot of ability. I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is, but he has the talent to be as good as he thinks he is. If I could just say something to Broner, and it would be this. And I'm talking about in the ring. You're fighting in a division that these guys are fast. They have speed. And some have some power. But they have a lot of speed. It's a division that throws probably some of the most punches out there. You're not going to win a fight if you're averaging 8 punches a round, you have to be busier. Now, he made a comment that Pacquiao was missing, and maybe he was. Broner's defense is not that bad. But in the eyes of the judges, if you're not throwing punches, you can't possibly score. Throw some punches. Maybe you have a chance to win a fight. Throw some punches. Floyd doesn't throw a lot of punches, but when he does, he make them count. You have to throw punches to win a fight. And whenever he's in front of a microphone, I pray every morning. And I pray for wisdom. To be able to express myself wisely, to use wise words, to make wise decisions, to make wise choices. I personally think we all could exercise that in prayer. And I'm just saying that to Broner. Exercise wisdom. I thought Pacquiao won that fight 11-1. Hands down. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. But that's going to do it. And it feels good to be back. I appreciate all of those who chimed in and chatted, had some comments. I'll notify everybody the next time I do it. I appreciate you all. Peace and blessings. God bless. Y'all have a great day.